Hey everybody, and welcome back to Interviews with an Overthinker. I want to wish everybody a very, very happy new year, and I hope everybody had a beautiful Christmas. I'm really excited to jump back into things, doing exactly what I love, with real people, discussing real matters, discussing real life experiences. Super excited to have this guest on. He is my first one of 2026, and I admire him a lot. I know him personally, and I think he's a pillar of strength. And if anybody gets anything from this, is it doesn't matter what you've been through, it's how you deal with it. So I really hope you like this one, and I want you all to welcome my next guest. Enjoy. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning, Christina. What's the story?
Hello, my friend. It's great to have you here. It's
Great
a
to be
pleasure.
here.
So, can you do me a favour and introduce yourself, your name, and where you're from, and just tell me a bit about yourself?
Right, where do I start? My name is Shane, as you well know, but for anyone who doesn't, I'm 36. I'm from Tala originally, kind of moved all over the place as a kid. Um, Came up through the care system, kind of grew up with, just like everybody else, probably like yourself, we didn't have a lot. Um, So yeah, just that was it. Growing up in care, fucking didn't really stay too long in school and stuff like that. And life just took a few turns along the way.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting one so far, and sure we'll get into a little. I know you have loads of questions there.
I do have a lot of questions for you, but that's only because I know you, and I think it'd be nice to kind of get a little insight into you. So, firstly, I want to know: do you suffer with your mental health on the regular? And if you do, why do you think you do?
Yeah, the quick answer to that is definitely.
Right.
And I'm not ashamed to say it. Look, I'm on antidepressants, and I've tried to kind of come off them, do things on my own strength, but I need them at the moment. And I
I'm
just have
under myself, so it's nice. I've never met anybody that I know that is also under. Do you
yeah.
know?
Well, look, I think at the end of the day, it's like if you have diabetes, you have to take insulin. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's the same thing if you have some sort of imbalance serotonin or whatever it is going on with you, or you're dealing with trauma that you have stored in your body, or for me as well as PTSD. You need help.
Yeah.
And if I mean taking a tablet every day to kind of just to level things
Yeah.
down and allow you to think straight and not feel like a bag of shit
And
most of the time.
regulate.
Regulate your emotions, because that's a big thing with me. Is emotions and learning. Sometimes I'm like a little child, you know what I mean? I can throw me fucking toys out of pram very easily.
Yeah.
But I'm on a journey with myself at the moment with mental health, because I suppose the big thing with me was I've always tried to run away from myself and run away from dealing with my problems, because from a young age I suppose I learned to my way of surviving was to look outside myself or imagine myself being somewhere else. So I've always been in a state of trying to
Fight or
step
flight.
outside my own body,
Yeah.
and like that fight or flight. So I was never able to connect with myself properly. So I'm fucking 37 now, and in the last year, probably year to 16 months, I've only really started a journey of properly understanding who I am and why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
So mental health, it's out there in society. It's a word I think used too freely in a lot of ways by people.
Yeah.
It's just a roll off the tongue thing now.
Especially when you're one who has a real condition.
Yeah.
It's hard when people are throwing
But you
it
know what
around.
it is, Christina? The ones who fucking have issues, they're the ones who hide it the best. Do you know what I mean? If you're just throwing it out here, there, and everywhere, it's usually just it's been used too loosely. But society, it can be a very hard place to live in. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of money pressure. There's a lot of pressure with the kids, trying to stop them from being took over by the ways of the world and social media and all that. So I mean, people are trying to balance a lot of stuff at the moment.
And
It's no wonder that people are struggling mentally. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's hard to live here at the moment. So there is life pressures and daily struggles.
it is.
That is starting all this off for a lot of people, even people who've never suffered with their mental health. You know, it could be new to them this year or last year, especially.
Look, it's about breaking the stigma and it not being such a taboo subject.
Yeah.
You know, we think there's a lot of strength in talking about your weaknesses, and it's not a weakness. No. It's just what you live every day. You know what I mean?
We're just people.
And for me, I accept it. It's been part of my journey. I didn't ask for it, but I'm at a point in my life now where I'm trying to do what I can do to make it better and stop doing what I used to do to make it worse.
New ways to fix it.
Taking responsibility, you know.
To cope, you know. Do you have any specific mental health disorders or conditions?
At the moment, well, it's PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, and I'd suffer with depression as well, which is what would be on the antidepressants for, obviously.
Okay. Do you think like you're an overthinker at all? Who isn't?
It's the diary of an overthinker, like, you know what I mean? Yes, 100%. I find very hard not to overthink things and be a chronic procrastinator. I find it very hard to live in the now. You know, to say that book, The Power of Now. I read 3/4 of it because I couldn't sit in the now for long enough to finish the fucking thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But constantly in my own head, I'm either 10 miles ahead or 10 miles behind. Or the time that I'm here right now in the present, sometimes I don't use that time wisely. I find it very hard to sit with myself.
Yeah.
It's and you know, that's something I run away from a lot.
Sitting the shit, I call that.
Yeah, so this year I made a conscious decision that I'm gonna have to learn to be okay with me, and you know, be able to sit with myself and explore the reasons why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
And kind of, it's okay to be an overthinker, but it's not okay to just let it run away with itself. If you know what I mean.
No, I get that, and it's hard, but you manage best you can. So, since we're talking about mental health, what changes do you think are needed for our mental health system in Ireland in order for things to change? That's hard, isn't it?
That's a serious question, and the first answer I kind of give is money.
1,000,000%.
You know, and I'm not going to try to be controversial or whatever else, but the way the government manage money at the moment is an absolute joke. There's people in Ireland screaming out with their mental health and whatever else, and you know, like myself, coming up through the care system and that. You've literally been conditioned to either be strung out of your head or suffer with post-traumatic stress for the rest of your life. There's no funding for most drug rehabilitation places.
Yeah.
There's very few dual diagnosis places within that for people. And just the mental health system in general is a bit of a joke. Because I know my experience when I actually reached out when I was feeling that low, you know, I was told, you know, oh yeah, well, we can get you an appointment in 7 months. And I was like,
7 months is no
you know, 7 months is no use to someone who's ready to call it a day. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, so, it's disgraceful.
Money and the attitudes need to change towards mental health, because it affects both working class and you know, the rich, whatever it is. It affects everybody. But the bottom line is money and resources.
Yeah.
You know, hospital
lack of resources right now.
Lack of resource, but there's a lack of. They're not looking at.
There's a lack of compassion.
Yeah.
There's a lack of understanding. You know.
So that's coming here. All boils down to money and treating people as people with dignity and humanity. Yeah. Not just, like as I always say, when you have people making decisions about how things go in society that can afford private healthcare, private housing, private schools, they don't have to worry about services, you know. And I'm not being bitter saying that, but that's the reality of it. You know what I mean?
It is the reality of it.
And the resources, again, with the influx of people coming in, you know, the resources are just being flatlined.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better anytime soon.
No.
So that's me fucking thoughts on that.
Good. Well,
sorry for cursing. It's my first podcast or interview, whatever you want to call it. So
that's okay. You're being yourself. We love we love the authenticity.
The authenticity of it all.
So, Can I ask you, what do you do on the days that your head robs you of not being able to carry on?
Well, I suppose what I've started to do, because it's only something recently I've started to take control of in the last year and a half. So I'll just talk about that. There's no point in looking at what I didn't do.
Of course.
What I'm starting to do now is I start to change the way that I think, because if you're thinking negative all the time, you're just breathing negativity into your life. And I do believe that when you practice and change the way you think, as you know, we go to a day program, and my counsellor, she said to me, it's catch, challenge, and change. So you catch your thought, you challenge it, and you see what's real and what's not. Because we give myself an awful hard time, as I'm sure you do yourself.
I do.
And then when you talk to yourself like that for so long, it's very hard to make positive changes in your life.
Self-sabotage.
So I really have to sit back now, and I have to catch my thoughts.
Before they get out of control.
I have to practice that every single day. Even in my videos, I just say to people, I am speaking not just to you but to myself, because I have to remind myself every day what we need to do. And a big part of that is retraining my brain. And look, also, you have to take ownership of what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, there's the quick fix, and then there's the long-term goals.
You need to put the work into that, and putting the work in is hard, and it's time-consuming, and you need that dedication, and you want that change. You know what I mean?
And a big part of that for me is, you know, when you've been through a lot in your life, you can play the victim card. And what that does is it allows you not to do anything.
Yeah,
because you say, this
progress.
isn't my fault. At some stage, anyone out there suffering, you have to wake up and realise that this is your life.
Yeah.
And there's no one coming to lift you up and save you. Because we felt like that for years. Someone's going to just walk in the door and pick little Shane up and make his world right. It was never going to happen.
You have to do that.
It's on me. And once I accepted that, I think everything else started to happen naturally.
Yeah, it's when you believe that, though. When you believe in yourself, I think that's when everything else starts to follow.
I nurtured the addict for ages. That was my way of escaping, and I never nurtured the person. So now,
and I seen that in your video this morning, actually.
I want to start nurturing the person, because the person's the important part.
Yeah.
The addict is just you know, that's just the circumstance.
A version.
Yeah, it's just a version, a coping mechanism or whatever. You know what I mean? That's not who I am.
No, it's not.
So nurture the person every day. Do something good for yourself, or do something good for someone else as well. You know what I mean?
Just the kindness. Being kind
to yourself. Don't be a see you next Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're in recovery.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, look, we started about 16 months ago, maybe. And we put up my first video. It was something I wanted to do for a long time, but I just felt shit for so long. We used drugs from the age of 14. We used to be popping up to 15 years, and I was only a small, skinny little thing. How it didn't really kill me was unreal. But once I started on that, it took me away from myself, and I filled a gap inside myself, you know. And 20 years I played that game, you know, and I managed not to get burned too hard, but as a young man, there was a lot of developmental growth that was missed out on.
Yeah.
So I just suffered for a long time in that retrospect, but it kept me alive, to be honest, Christina, at the time.
Because it was probably blocking things out.
If we didn't, I honestly don't know what way things would have went, because I'd nowhere else to turn.
Yeah.
I had nowhere else to go other than to what worked, what was the escape.
Yeah.
You know,
whatever you did to cope.
Yeah, it only works for so long, and then the addiction sets in. You know, so so I came into recovery 14, 15 months ago. Now tell me to fucking hurry up now, because I have a tendency to
no, you're all right, you're okay. I want to listen. I'm here to listen. That's what we're
about. But so 14 months, and you know, it hasn't been perfect, to be honest. You know, and I always say that as well. This is my journey is far from perfect. People like to look at recovery as either you've been 100% abstinent from day one, but 2 years down the line, if you make a mistake, it's like you've gone all the way back and you haven't done anything with yourself. And I don't believe that for
Do you mean that in regards to like
having a, if you have
slip
if you have a little slip here and there, people think it's the end of the world. Because I'll be honest, I had a slip or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I fucking learned a hell of a lot from it.
Yeah.
But the most important thing I learned was you didn't throw anything away. You have an opportunity to learn, but you can't take away the learning that you're already after doing. Now, I'm not saying that people should go out and take the chance, because it's different for everybody. Some person's relapse might be the end of their life.
Yeah.
You know,
some people might not come back from that, but some people can, and they shouldn't beat themselves. Or don't beat yourself.
Yeah, well, look, I was lucky. Well, I wouldn't say lucky. I got to the stage over the last 10 years where it was a weekend thing. You know, I was able to manage that. I was able to walk. I was able to do all them things, but my head was still bleeding gone because I've done it for so long, you know. But some people can't afford that. But just my personal journey hasn't been perfect. But I've surrounded myself with the right people. I'm in a day program. I walk. I have a good wife. So as far as I'm concerned, I am in recovery, and I've always been in recovery. But everybody's journey is different, and progress happens in stages.
Yeah,
and you don't just go from zero to hero overnight. It's a process. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing good.
I think you're doing fantastic.
I go easy on myself because it's the only way. I've bet myself around the head for too long. I'm not going to do it anymore. That's what keeps you down there.
You should be your only critic. You know? And when you judge yourself, when I judge myself, and when anybody judges yourself, we're too hard on ourselves.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Because we are the only one we want to take advice from, but we can be the world's worst critic.
But as I said to people, I don't need you to tell me wrongs. I don't need you to point them out. I tell myself that every minute of every day, so don't waste your time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it can't come across as defensive, but it's reality.
It is reality.
You know, you telling me is not.
And you're not the only one, and everybody, a lot of people feel that way. They just don't openly talk about it.
Yeah, the change comes from inside. You know
it does. And we need to put the work in, and I see you putting the work in. I'm actually I watch your videos myself, you know what I mean? And as we always have a little joke about this, I think you're very authentic.
Oh, there's the word. There's the word.
I think you're very authentic, and I love watching your videos because they're real and they're from the heart. And if you're experiencing an emotion in that moment, you just say, fuck it, that's going in. I'm going to put that in anyway. And that's what I think people need to see, you know?
Like that.
The realness.
I try to be aware of that because, and in so many different aspects, not just of how you talk, how you present yourself. There's so much pressure to present yourself, you know, dressed up the best and all of this, or people are afraid to say what's going on with them, with their confidence and stuff like that, or what they'd like to improve. I mean, I said to you there this morning, I says, look, I came in from work last night. I said, and I was like yesterday, will I get me Monster X thing that I had for Christmas, you know, tried to.
Yeah.
I said, no, well, I shouldn't feel the need to be pressured like that. I'd come in, I'd be me. And he said, I bought me little €18. My friend works in a charity shop, and you know what? I feel fresh as a day.
Good, because you look fresh. So.
Because if we feel good, it doesn't matter what anyone else
says. It doesn't.
And I think that it's a good attitude to have. You know
as soon as we realise that, you know.
It's the ego.
Yeah, you drop the ego then.
For me, ego could be a very dangerous thing. I'm not saying I ever had a big ego, but I've seen how it plays out in circles. And when things don't work out your way, or you don't get the attention that you want, what are you left with?
I know.
You have nothing left inside to keep yourself going. So I try to be like, I'm good enough for me today. I don't have to please anybody.
Exactly. That's all you need to be good enough for, Shane. Thank you for that. So I have a few questions here about Huntington's disease. So I know that your family was sadly struck by this disease. Previously you told me all about that briefly. So what exactly is this? So
I'm trying to explain it right.
Just to the best of your knowledge.
Disease, it's something to do with your genetic makeup basically. If there's one thing extra in your DNA, and so basically, it's a hereditary thing, and if you end up having Huntington's, which you have a 50-50 chance, so it's flip of a coin. Do you know what I mean? But if you do get it, it's like a mix, say, between MS, Parkinson's, probably dementia, and like your muscles and all kind of waste away, so you'd end up in a wheelchair for a long time until basically it's a very long and grueling process.
Yeah.
So it's a horrible disease, like, and for a long time there wasn't really a lot known about it, or a lot of kind of things to help it.
There was no awareness.
There wasn't really much awareness, but in my family, I suppose, my father had it, his father had it, and me auntie had it as well, and they all passed. But my sister and my brother also had it, and they passed. So there was a lot of death between, like,
That's a lot to do
a couple of years in between each other, and in that process, obviously, we had to get tested as a young man, which was a horrendous process, to actually try to follow up with that and get the answer, because once you get that answer, it's life determinant.
I know you don't know what road you're going to go down, all depending on that answer.
So to say, like, that people say, oh, I thought about it every second of the day. When I say I thought about it every second day, I thought about it every second.
I can only imagine.
Got to the stage where I was
being an overthinker in general, and then
my hands were seizing up. I was getting symptoms and all. And I remember one day I went on and looked up, because my fingers and all curling up like that with the stress. And the first thing came up was Huntington's disease. I tell you, I was running around like a lunatic for about 2 weeks, panicking. But
no, that would be very unsettling.
It took me years to go for it. But you know what? It took me that long to go for it. I remember I went in to get an assessment, because basically they want to know whether you're in a good enough place to find out if you did have it.
Right.
So, I went for it before I backed out, because I was too young and I was shitting myself, because I knew how life-changing it being, and seeing what my family had been through and how long it takes. And I'd already decided that if I found out I had it, I was going to kill myself. Right. I was saying, I'm not going through that.
Yeah, you didn't want to experience it.
And I didn't want anyone looking after me in that capacity. I even said it to my partner at the time. I said, we won't be able to be with you if this comes back. I won't have you looking after me like that, But I couldn't go through with it the first time. And the second time around, I went and I got it done. And then a woman asked me the same questions, the counsellor, the genetics counsellor. And I said to her, look, it's like this. I said, if we don't find out what's going to happen, it's going to be just as damaging as if we find out that I do have it. I says, because I'm in a place now where it's dangerous either way.
Yeah.
So, and how I know I was in such a bad place is because when I found out I had it, I didn't have it, it didn't make any difference. I found something else to worry about.
Yeah. And because you have a lot to worry about.
There was a lot of damage done, It wasn't like a...
Yeah.
Didn't work like that.
No, and it doesn't.
Because it's like I built myself up so much for them. I stored all that in my body that I couldn't relax. I just found...
I'd say physically you were in pain as well. Like,
I overthought about something else, you know what I mean? And it robbed me a lot of being able to have a proper relationship with my brother and all, because when I was around him, I was just looking at him going, is that going to be me? You know? And I kind of feel bad for that, I look back and I feel like I wasn't 100% there for them, because I was too caught up in thinking about myself. But I understand that now. I know I couldn't control that, but it's time I can't get back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Huntington's is an awful disease, but what I will say is in recent times they've actually come up with something now that they can actually slow it down by 75%. Which is like you're talking about adding 20, 30 years onto someone's life. So it's amazing. It's a bit bittersweet for me.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm delighted for anybody.
You're delighted for anybody, any family that would have to go through something like that, you know? Have you any words of support or advice to anyone with this condition, or like say a family who might experience the trauma of it?
Yeah, it's I don't even know what I can say, Christina, because I know that no matter what you say, it's a 50-50 thing, and that's the scary part. So I can't tell someone, oh, you're going to be alright, this, that, and the other. It's very individual. It depends on your support systems. But the only thing I will say is, you're never on your own. But look for the support. There's plenty of groups out there, Huntington's Disease Association, there's things you can go on, look, you can get support from other families, see how they dealt with things.
Yeah.
All the stuff we didn't know when I was younger.
And now with the you can prolong your life. this new medicine.
Well, yeah, so I'm forgetting about that.
Yeah.
Now it's
totally different.
It's totally different, and from what I understand, you will have a chance. The only thing it might affect is you might pass on. And I think it used to be an old person's disease. Now it's starting to progress into younger people getting it.
Yeah, it's genetic.
Because my sister was actually the youngest person in Ireland at one stage who ever got juvenile Huntington's. But anyways, yeah, it's exciting to know that people, it's not such a death sentence anymore, and that you will have a much better quality of life.
Yeah.
So, just live it to the best of your ability. And I know how scary it is, and I know it's easy for me to say because I was one of the lucky ones. I paid in a lot of other ways.
Of course.
Yeah. But just never give up. Your family will always be there to love you, and I'm sure there's always people you can confide in and talk to. It's not the end of the world, even though it might feel like it at the time. Because I know how it feels. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. Thank you. Now, I just want to ask you a few questions, right? You were in the care system when you were younger.
I was.
What's your view on the care system here in Ireland?
Do you want the honest answer to that?
You can be as honest as you want.
It's a shit show.
Shit show.
Absolute shit show.
Right.
I think basically, you may as well put some kids in prison.
Okay.
It's pretty much, I'm just saying it as it is.
Yeah, you're telling your experience.
What I will say is, I'm not going to sit here and call everybody bad foster parents or bad social workers. I don't think that would be fair. Mm-hmm. We can just go by my experience and the experience of everyone else that I've spoken to that have been in care. And it hasn't improved in the whole time I've been around, and nor have I seen any changes or implementations to make it any better for the most disadvantaged kids in society. So it's very bad.
So I know it's not good, obviously, but because I've never experienced anything like that, so I don't really know the insights of it. You know what I mean? So that's good to get somebody's perspective from them, like living that themselves. What things would you change about it?
I suppose, look, I didn't get, from my experience in care, there was a lot of things that weren't done right. I think when a child reports some sort of abuse, they should be took straight out of home, which in my case didn't happen on 2 or 3 occasions.
Okay.
I think they should be given mental health support from day one.
Yeah.
Help with integrating into like school societies, because I feel like you're just taking a kid away from what he considers the safest place in the world.
Yeah.
The mother and father could be running around as addicts, but the kids don't see that sometimes.
No.
I remember living with my mom, I was so happy. But we were fucking probably going around dressed like bleeding scruffs, but I was happy.
You were happy.
And you're picked up and poured into this environment, and I feel like you're not even treated like a child sometimes,
Yeah.
And as I said, it's like being in a prison, really, somewhere you don't want to be. And the support is it's not there, and the stuff that happens is disgraceful from my experience and from other people's, and there's nothing talked about.
No. So I admire that you're so open about stuff like this.
Well,
I think it's really important that people are,
Yeah, no, it absolutely is, and for a long time I chose to just keep things to myself, thinking, is it going to hurt this person indirectly and stuff like that. But now I've come to realise that all people cared about is saving face for themselves. But when you have such a lot of damage done in your life, when you're in the care to stay, and the stories I've heard from people is horrendous, and my own story as well is not great. So I feel I have a responsibility, because I'm speaking up for the kids who don't have a voice. I remember crying in the room on my own, hopeless. I used to think if I could look into a crystal ball and see where my ma was and be there. I was in prison and I was hurting so bad. And I was on my own, but I had no voice. No one was listening to me.
See that when I was a child, I was very inquisitive about people being mistreated, and
animals being mistreated and kids being mistreated, and I always had so many questions about things like that, and I always felt great empathy because I could see in situations, when you're growing up, when things aren't right somewhere, but no one talks about it, So I can imagine how difficult that must be for a child to be in a situation like that when no one's listening.
No one's listening, and it's like tell an adult, tell her this, tell her that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people watching and knew, because a lot of people spoke up after I put a video out saying what happened to me in the care system, saying, "Oh, we all knew he was this or he was that,"
Yeah.
But I was a child, and there was no one there. As I said in the video before, I remember, like, I couldn't get away from this man. I lived in this house for 5 years. I was grounded all the time, mentally abused. There's so much I could go into, but this was a very angry man. Had slices all up his arms and all on his chest. He was an alcoholic. His wife was an alcoholic. Now, I believe she was probably a bit of a victim herself.
Yeah.
But she didn't stand up for me the way she should have. So that's how I can justify I was trying to be nice and not throw her under the bus, and a family weren't happy when I said the truth. But at the end of the day, I was failed. So I'm not going to lie about that.
You were failed.
And but anyways, this chap ended up working in the school as well as a caretaker, so I couldn't even get my apron there. And I was dragged out by the throat. My whole class was screaming, crying. I mean, screaming, crying. And my teacher came in. She was all over the place. I'll never let that happen to you again. But I was took out of the school and battered. I remember being thrown across the room, bounced off a radiator and all. And I wasn't allowed to go back into school for a couple of days until obviously all the bruises and whatever had went off. Why no one done anything about that? I have no idea.
So did nobody step in the middle of all of this?
I asked 3 social workers. I told them what was going on. They all went behind me back, told him things got alright for a few weeks, then went back to normal. It was like they didn't want to deal with the hassle of rehoming me. It was easier to make me out to be the troubled child.
Troubled child, yeah.
And
so wrong.
So I told the teacher and all, nothing happened in the school. It was got away there, and then I went to counselling. I was made put into counselling after my sister died because I got no support. After my sister died, I used to be crying upstairs in the bed, and he'd shout up the stairs, "Oh, there's the banshee crying again." I was only out to losing my sister.
Yeah.
So anyways, I started harming myself, and they had to send me to counselling because obviously the social workers and all had to be seen to do that part of their job.
Of course.
And the fucking counsellor went behind me back then and told them that what I was after saying about what was happening in the house, and told them that I was suicidal. Right, and I was only 12 years of age, 11 or 12 years of age.
So that must have felt like they were conspiring against you.
It just felt, I'll tell you, right, because people have asked me, and I'm going to say this because this is controversial, and I've been waiting on an opportunity to elaborate on it. Members of that family had asked me, well, why did you stay here? Why did you do this and do that? And I'm going to answer that quite simply. When you were a child and you reach out for help on your own family, your foster family, the social services, the school, the council, when all of them places that you're meant to be safe and no one listens to you and goes behind your back, what do you learn? You learn that no one cares, so why should you? And you allow yourself to be in environments that are not conductive to you as a person, that are actually lethal for you to be around, but your value system goes down because you feel like you don't matter to anybody.
Yeah.
So I look back, and my biggest mistake is, why the fuck was I back around these people? It's because I was conditioned to see that I didn't matter.
I know.
So, I can't take that back, and it annoys me that I gave people that power, but I'm just going to explain that because people have questioned on it.
Yeah.
But why did you go back there?
Yeah. Because that's what you knew. And
that's the answer.
Yeah.
That's the only answer we can give to that, is because you're that damaged that you feel if no one cares, why should
this is all I have.
Yeah. And you've nowhere to turn.
I know that. Do you know what? I think we all kind of do that and bring ourselves back to toxic environments that we know aren't good for us, because sometimes it's all we know until we learn to do better.
Absolutely, it's a shit show, really.
It sounds it,
and that's why I have a soft spot in my heart, because as I said, I'm bringing that inner child now back into me, because that's where the damage is.
You always have to heal them. You're healing
and
little
it's a
Shane.
fucking long process.
Oh, I know. I've recently done
but
it.
I deserve it.
Yeah.
So now I have to be that person that goes in and picks myself up and takes me up. No one else is coming to do it, but I have to reach my hand. It's like put the hand back through time and go, I have your back.
Yeah, yeah.
You're talking to me.
Yeah.
And that's me healing what's going on inside her. All that hurt, all that abandonment, all that damage, all that stuff. It's I have to reach out and fix that. You know what I
So
mean?
you're actually talking to young Shane and you're letting them know that I know I wasn't there then, but I'm here now.
And luckily, like there's certain things happening in them times that contributed to me not being contributed to me being here. You know, even like my first relationship, I remember with a girl that was, you know, my first real love. And I remember that was a dark time. That was the only light I had. And I actually said that to her afterwards. I said, you don't know what you done for me there.
Yeah.
I said, I don't feel like I'd have been here if I didn't have that.
Yeah.
To kind of.
So you had your own experience of what that love felt like. You know what I mean? And believe it or not, love actually does save people. Whatever forms it's presented to them, it saves us in many ways.
100%, but learning to love yourself is
that's the hardest
part.
Yeah.
You know, not searching for approval elsewhere.
Yeah. No, I know. But it is hard to come around with that, you know. So, talking about Tusla, you know, obviously the foster care system and Tusla now, what does Tusla have to do in order to protect the children of Ireland in situations like yourself when they feel like the kids aren't being hurt? Right. Do you know what I mean? In that sense.
I've actually thought about this myself, actually. And I think what needs to be done is, we think they need to get people like myself, people who've been through the system and would notice kids who have had, you know, behaviour devices, adverse childhood experiences. So it's stuff that will affect you kind of nearly for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
They should have people who have been through it, you know, train them up to go and actually get some sort of a board together that goes around Ireland and checks up on the welfare of these kids and listens to them. You know, because
I agree.
It's a money racket for a lot of people, and I don't care what you say. It's a money racket. Like,
yeah, it is.
It's a paycheck for people, but I wasn't saying it. You know what I mean?
No.
But I think that's the only way is to get people who came from it, because they're the ones who care. I love to hear people saying they become social workers and this and that, but I've also seen people, as a child myself, in places, I've seen people get so discouraged because you cannot replace lived experience.
No.
Now, I know over time these people get to learn, but I've seen it firsthand that
you have the life experience.
They get so disheartened going in because they realise this is not easy.
Yeah.
You know, because these kids will call you out every chance. We're so intelligent at that age because your only way is to use your voice to kind of get adults to nearly listen.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, that's what we would say. Get a committee of people or a board of people, train them up to go out and check on the welfare of these kids specifically.
Yeah.
To see if there's any signs of them being abused, has there been any reports made, and make sure that there's welfare checks, that there's background checks and guard checks. Now, look, we don't know how I was passed to live with the people who I live with.
I know.
Your man was a bleeding psychopath.
People,
you know what I mean?
People hide their shit well, though. That's the scary thing about the world.
Well, you couldn't, I can't accept that because, you know, when you only have to look at someone, you can tell.
Well, in your case, you know, I don't know these people, so and you do.
Anyone that does know them
would know.
Knows.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's one of them things. It's not hid very well.
Right.
But
so in situations like that, that would make me very angry for our young Shane. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was a very angry person. You know, and I still have to deal with that. And it leaves traces in you. You know, even to the fact that how I deal with things, I can be angry and I look back and I see that was a kind of an attribute of that person that fucking abused me.
Yeah.
So I'm having to deal with a ripple effect of that stuff.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's like a generational thing.
And another thing as well, I'd say, is, you know, the statistics will show that people who came out of care system are overrepresented in prisons, they're overrepresented in suicide, they're overrepresented in addiction. I got no education on drugs when I was in care. Maybe a little bit in school, that was it.
Yeah, but just the basics.
You should be getting these kids while they're young, because all of them start at a very early age, 13, 14.
Because it's presented to them at this age.
And they get thrown out of care. I got now after care thrown out at 16 onto the street, put back into a bad family environment that I was took from in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, it's like bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's just repeating itself for you, and it's unfair because it's like you are failed. And I think for somebody in your situation, you have been through so much and you've really overcome so much.
Yeah, well, look, it's a daily battle, Christina.
I know.
As you know yourself.
I know. And do you know what, though? I think it's the people that have been through so much trauma in their life make such differences in the world.
It's the only purpose. I think you have to find a purpose, and I think that's my purpose now. I do a lot of mental health, I do the recovery and the things, but the main reason I set up my page, Take Life Back, is to try to show kids coming in the care system, don't waste 20 years trying to run away from yourself with drugs or whatever else. It just doesn't work, and you're going to have to face yourself at some stage of the game.
Yeah.
So I suppose I just want to try to be some sort of living proof that there's another way, even though it took me a very long time, but it's never too late. I just love to see people get a lot earlier.
But these are all things as well that you would have great knowledge to. So you could always help. You could always do a little group as well. Bring these things into communities in disadvantaged areas.
Well, that's why I'm here doing things like this,
Absolutely.
Christina. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
This is me first podcast. I'm popping me cherry today. So.
Right, so I don't mean to kill the mood here, but I have a question here that I feel is quite personal. As a person who's experienced feeling all of these emotions, ups, downs, trauma, I know that you may have experienced suicidal ideation firsthand, because we've chatted about that before. What did that feel like?
I suppose the first time I ever thought about that was, as I said, when I was in getting counselling. I was probably 11 or 12, something like that. And I'll tell you how young I was, because I was that young that I thought if I held my breath for long enough that I'd die. And I remember sitting in the bed one time holding my breath. I was that immature, thinking it'd kill me.
Do you know what? I was the same. I did that when I was younger as well. The immaturity, but you feel it.
Yeah, you feel it, but when you're a kid, you can't compartmentalize things. No. You don't. This is anxiety. This is that. Yeah. It's just.
There's no understanding.
It's an overwhelming feeling of what's going on. Yeah. How do we get out of this? Yeah. And that was my first ever thought of getting out of this. And but anyways, after that, going through the whole hunting thing, which took probably 5 to 6 years for me to follow it through and find out in the end I didn't have it, thank God. I get a chance to live my life, and I want to do that in honour of me father, my brother and my sister. Sorry, what was the question again?
the question about you experiencing suicidal.
Oh yeah, thoughts. Sorry. So with the whole process of going through that, it brought up a lot of anxiety, a lot of contemplation. I just wasn't there. Everything was consumed by whether I was gonna die or not, because that was it. It was like, I'm either gonna die or I'm not gonna die. It was 50-50. So that just started off a chain of events where I was already contemplating that if we found out that I had it, I was going to kill myself. So I said, I can't do it. I knew exactly what it would entail.
Yeah.
And I wasn't willing to go through it. I just couldn't do it, So that kind of started off maybe a bit of suicidal ideation. Not actually going to do it, but you start to have these dark little thoughts.
Yeah, your brain goes to those.
And then other times you could be driving down the road and you get a mad thought in your head. Oh, jeez, what happened now if we just pulled over into that? And then you're like, what are you thinking about that for?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's your brain
it
just goes into.
It completely overpowers your thinking.
Yeah, do you know, and I think that can happen to people.
Yeah.
But it's about just accepting that it's a dark thought. It's not your reality, but why are you thinking that way?
Yeah.
You know, so I've been lucky enough that outside of that time as a child, I really wanted to be gone. I think all the other times it was me trying to escape. How can I end this hurt and this pain? But I'm gonna be honest. As much as I might wanted to end things, I always had hope of better days, and I never let go of that.
That's brilliant to have.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's kept me going.
I'd say you grasped onto that though, and that's what helps you keep going.
But like this, the thing, people who have been through a lot from a kid, you build this resilience, which is so sad because such bad things happen in your life, and it looks like you just walk through them, but you don't.
No.
You just store it.
Yeah. But it also gives you great strength, even though you may not feel strong. But it does, like deep within, it gives you from the heart strong.
You can keep going, but to live a fulfilled life at some stage, which is where I'm at now, you have to start letting go of that stuff, and you have to stop carrying it with you. Doesn't mean you have to look back.
Yeah.
It just means you have to let go of some baggage so that you can feel normal. You can kind of readjust to just being you, not an afflicted you from someone else, but you know, a life you're choosing, so to speak.
Of course, and that's how you find it. That's how we get our peace with ourselves as well, you know.
And listening to other people as well is great. Like sitting here with you, you know, you're not a stranger to me. Yeah. You know, we know each other from down the beach. We've great crack.
Yeah.
There's a great little group on there, and like, you don't realise what that does for someone like me who always felt different.
Yeah.
He's the foster
I would have never known anything about you down at the beach when you first start going down. When I start first going down, that's actually one of the questions I have for you there about Rise Above It. I would never know. I would have known that you carry all your trauma so well. You know, and this is why I'm always preaching on my own socials about being kind to people. When we all go down there, we go down there with an open mind, and we don't judge each other. But at the start, you don't actually know anything about anybody. So when you initially shared all your videos on your Take Life back page, I was blown away because I was like, I know this chap once, and I knew nothing, and I would never know. I was like, he's probably one of the smiliest people I met down there, you know. So I would never know. I would never have guessed.
It's because we see where with my own family as well. When you play the victim, it can keep you right where you're at, and you never change. Yeah. So I made a conscious decision that so I suppose in some ways it stopped me from speaking out about who I am and whatever. That I mightn't have been unhealthy that way, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to use my past as a reason to hold myself back. If anything, I'm going to, as we say, your story is your strength, it's your power. You know, you don't go through all of that for nothing.
No.
Use your experience, give it back. That way, it wasn't all for nothing. You know, you didn't suffer for nothing.
No, and I love the title of your social media, Take Life Back. I think it's very inspiring, and I think it shows a lot of strength that you do have the power now.
Well, look,
you have the power now.
It especially stands out for people who are in care because their life was taken away from them.
Of course.
They had no control.
Yeah.
So it gets to a stage when you're older and you've been affected. It's like you've already went into autopilot because you've no control over it. So it's like, wake up. Now it's on you. It's not on anyone else. You have to take responsibility, and it's up to you to take your life back. Stop handing it over.
But I like how it is though. But it's like it is your responsibility to take it back, and you're doing it. You're doing just that and more.
To the best of my ability.
Exactly.
And I don't get it right all the time.
No, none of us do though.
You know, there's no perfect people. We're all flawed in our own ways. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not perfect, but I'll never give up, and I'll always just try to be a better version. And the best version of me is the version where I'm helping other people.
Yeah.
That's the best version of me I can see for myself.
But you know, like even saying that, I feel a little bit better when I'm helping other people and stuff. Like when you actually preach that, right? Not just say it, but when you do it, it's very empowering.
Yeah, well, like I said the other day, the fella came in. Look, I'm on a day program. And one of the support workers goes, come here for a minute. And one of the lads that was at the going to the drop-in, he said to me, he says, oh, there's the two boys off TikTok, you know what I mean? He goes, they're the reason I'm after coming in here. And I was blown away because it was the first time I got to see it firsthand.
Happening in front of you.
And I felt over the moon that, I didn't know this person from Adam.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I done that to someone.
So they watched your video and they felt
it was
inspired
brilliant.
by that.
Like
Know
it
what I
gave me
mean?
such
A boost.
such a blatant boost. You know, as you say, they can help even one person.
You feel great though, don't you? Though
really, and I said to them, I said, listen, I said, I'm not perfect. I don't get it right all the time. I said, but never give up on yourself. Do you know what I mean? That's the worst thing you'd ever do.
Yeah.
You don't get it right first time. You go.
Try again.
But never give up. You know what I mean? And I think if we all listen to that voice inside, if you listen to your conscience, it tells you what's right and wrong and what's good for you and what's not. If you tune into that a bit more, I know it's hard.
I know.
But your body will tell you. You know what I mean? When you're doing the wrong thing, it's up to you whether you choose to listen to it or not. It's funny
actually because the body does tell you.
She's a guilty conscience, you know what I mean? We all normally say, oh, I know it's not right, but fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyways. We'll deal with that tomorrow. You know what I mean?
I do that myself.
I've had too many tomorrows. Too many. I'll do it Christmas. I'll do it New Year's.
I know.
You never know.
You're just doing it.
As I say, today is the gift. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's how I'm trying to live, I suppose, at the moment.
So, who's your support system?
My wife, number one.
Lovely. I met her down on the beach. She's lovely.
She is. Woman. She's put up with a lot.
Yeah.
Do you know? I suppose I hid things very well at the start, but I never thought I had an impact on her.
Yeah.
But looking back, I became so distant, and I thought, well, she's the one giving out, so she's the one causing the problem. But my silence was actually a form of abuse, I think. And she suffered in that way, you know, and I had to realise that. I was actually, by saying nothing, I was actually doing something. I was causing harm, you know. But yeah, she has been, and she stands by me, and I love her for that, you know. And like all of you guys down at the beaches are great friends from the moment I met you. You're my people.
Yeah.
And you know your people when you meet them, because there's no judgment.
Yeah.
It's like we're one big family.
Yeah, and it's not often that all of us, like from the originals and, you know, from the beginning, all of us get together. But it is strong when we're all out there having the buzz, isn't it? Like,
well, that's it. Look, it's a collective energy. And that's why, you know, there's a few people in the circle that do that bit of social media and that. And that's what we should all help each other, because we all share the same lived experience. And the more we help each other up and push each other up, the more you help the world around you, or your family, your friends. So
because there's no two people the same down there. You know, everybody has a completely different life experience, and we offer completely different things.
But everybody has the one thing in common. Everyone wants better for themselves.
Wants better for themselves and each other.
And that's priceless, because that sort of that energy we all feed off.
Yeah, I know.
And you know yourself.
I know.
When you go right from the beach on a Sunday, I'm going on a fucking kick the bollocks out today. Let's go. You know what I mean?
I always stand there for 2 minutes and I'm like, let's do this.
Yeah, no, halfway through Monday, I'm like, fuck this. But like, if it's even just that one day a week,
but it
sets you up for a great week. So I'd advise anybody who's having a hard time, come down to the beach, we'll have the bleeding crack, you know, you'll be in good hands. But other than that, I have my day programme, you know, so I have my key workers in there, shout out to the Red Door and Drogheda, they do great work, they help me a lot. And, you know, I will be doing counselling and all this year and stuff like that, proper counselling, like, to really help me, which I've been waiting on, so I'm really excited about that. So the main thing, opening my mouth was the biggest support. Supporting myself by speaking up and saying what's going on and not giving a fuck what anyone thinks.
Well, I'm super proud of you. I think you've came on leaps and bounds, Shane. So I have a few little something light-hearted here.
Am I blushing? I feel like I'm rousing.
Because you're a bubble jacket.
I know, but yeah, it's because I'm hiding the head, you know what I mean? I'm waiting to get a bit of carpet laid down, you know what I mean? So the hair's a bit messy at the moment.
It's fine. You're going to be stunning.
You'll see it in a few weeks.
Right, so I'm really happy to see that I think your life has improved.
Definitely.
Immensely. Through all of the trauma that you've been through. You've had a lot of, it's been hard for you. So I'm really proud of you and I'm really happy to see all that. I really am. It's your face lights up when you know you see a person, you know, progressing for all of the right reasons, and you see all of the stuff that they went through. You're dealing with it and you're able to speak about it, and you know, you're proud of yourself, you know.
I swear to God, look, I never thought I'd have the life that I have today. I never thought I'd have my own council house.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be married.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd have a car. Never thought of buying my own house.
Yeah.
That just wasn't. That was never gonna be my life.
You probably felt that wasn't in the pipeline for you.
It took me 3 years after getting my house to actually be able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't. It
I
was
know.
so. It just didn't
your head
register.
was just robbing you of that.
So I have to remind myself now how far I've come.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking
look at
blessed.
the things that you've done. You
I'm
know what I mean?
blessed. Some people aren't that strong, and they're the people you need to reach.
Yeah.
You know, and that's get to them fucking young, because not everybody has that same strength. You know what I mean? Everyone's breaking point is different.
Yeah.
And I was just lucky that I was able to kind of go through the motions. But I'd love to just get the people early. Do you know what I mean?
Well, look, you've shared your story, so let's get it out. So thank you so much for that, Shane. I have one last thing I would like to ask you today, right? I ask this to everybody. If you are stranded on a desert island,
oh Jesus,
what 3 items / people would you bring to keep you sane, and why?
Well, I'm gonna have to say my wife, I suppose. Although a desert island sounds very fucking isolated, but no, I definitely would bring my wife. What you say, 3?
So it can be people or items or things, you know. But 3, only 3.
That's a hard out question.
It's very hard because you're limited.
But bring me wife a companionship.
Right.
Food. And something to build shelter. Because all we need is connection, food, and a place to call home. They're the 3 simple things we need.
That's actually a lovely answer.
Well, it's the best.
Some people leave their wives out, but you know what I mean. That was lovely.
But it's the simple things in life. We live so far outside our needs now, as a society, that it's no wonder people want.
Yeah.
It's what do you need?
Yeah.
You
and what
need
do you have?
very little.
But what do you have? And to be grateful for that. You know what I mean?
So that's the honest. That's all any of us need. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Shane.
Thank you. First podcast, interview, whatever you want to call it.